You know, we're interacting with AI literally every single day. It's helping write our emails, it's making incredible art, and it can sound spookily human on a customer service call. But it all boils down to one huge question, right? Is any of it actually thinking, or is it just getting unbelievably good at pretending?
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi movie question anymore. It is the ultimate challenge we're facing right now in the age of AI. I mean, how do we really know if a bunch of code running on a server has actually crossed that invisible line into genuine thought?
So, let's rewind the clock. Way back in 1950, long before anyone even dreamed of a smartphone, this absolute genius, Alan Turing, came up with a surprisingly simple way to tackle this massive problem. And he didn't do it with some crazy complex math. He did it with a game.
He called it the imitation game. The setup is basically a simple game with 3 players, all based on a blind conversation. And the goal was simple, but kind of profound. Could a machine actually trick a human into believing it was human too?
Okay, so imagine you're the judge. You're sitting in a room, you've got this text terminal, and you're typing out questions. Now, in 2 other totally separate rooms, you have a real person and an AI. You get to chat with both of them, but you can't see or hear them. Your only job is to figure out which one is the human and which one is the machine.
Now, here is the really clever part. The AI's goal isn't to be a supercomputer or get all the answers right. Nope, its one and only job is to deceive you. It's going to do whatever it takes to seem human. It'll lie, it might complain about its day, maybe even throw in a typo on purpose just to seem more real.
So, what's the passing grade? How do you win this game? Turing's rule was pretty straightforward. If, after a bunch of these chats, the machine could fool the judge into thinking it was the human more than 30% of the time, bam, it passes. That means, for all intents and purposes, it's considered to have achieved human-level intelligence.
But why all this focus on trickery? Why not just, look at the computer chips? This is where Turing was just brilliant. He completely sidestepped all those messy, impossible-to-answer questions about consciousness or a soul or what's really going on inside our heads.
It's basically the original duck test. You know the one. If it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. Turing applied that same exact logic here. If a machine talks and behaves in a way that's completely indistinguishable from a human, well, we should probably just call it intelligent.
And this idea, which philosophers call functionalism, was a total game changer. It totally redefined what we were even aiming for with AI. The idea that a mind doesn't have to be made of meat and bone was revolutionary. Suddenly, the goal wasn't to build a fake brain. The goal was to build something that could act smart. Performance over parts. Okay, so let's jump to today. We've got AI that's way more powerful than anything Turing could have dreamed of. So, has anything passed the test? Well, that's where things get a little messy and pretty controversial. So back in 2014, there was this big news story. A chatbot named Eugene Guzman actually convinced 33% of the judges it was human. It technically passed. But, hold on, a lot of people cried foul. They said it was just a cheap trick. See, Eugene's persona was a 13-year-old Ukrainian boy, which was the perfect excuse for not knowing certain things or making grammatical mistakes. Clever, right? But is it intelligence? And that really gets to the heart of the problem. Even with the incredible AI we have now, they're masters of mimicry, not minds with actual intent. Think of a large language model like the world's best autocomplete. It doesn't understand your question. It's just incredibly good at predicting the most statistically likely response based on the trillions of examples of human text it's been trained on. And that's why they hallucinate. They'll just make stuff up because they have no real connection to what's true or false.
So, because the original tests can be, well, gamed, a lot of smart people are saying we need to update our standards. The game has changed, so the rules have to change too. It's time to raise the bar. And we're starting to see some really interesting new tests pop up. You've got the Loveless test, which asks, can an AI create something genuinely new? Something that surprises even its creators. Or the Marcus test, which checks for basic common sense by having an AI just watch a video and explain what's happening. These are designed to test for real understanding, not just clever conversation.
So when you boil it all down, the Turing test's real genius wasn't about creating a final exam for robots. Its lasting legacy is that it forces us to look in the mirror and ask a really hard question. What does it even mean to think in the first place? What are the ingredients of our own intelligence?
Look, the technology is getting scarily good day by day.
That blurry line between brilliant imitation and a genuine mind is still the biggest unsolved puzzle in science. The question isn't really if we'll cross that line anymore, it's how will we even know when we're there. So, what do you think? Where is that line between just faking it and actually thinking?